Imagine waking up one morning and looking out at the world. But instead of the familiar blues and greens, everything is tinged with red. The lakes, once places of peace and tranquility, now shimmer with an unsettling crimson hue. This isn't a scene from a science fiction movie. It's a stark reminder of what could happen if we fail to protect our freshwater resources. The health of our planet is inextricably linked to the health of our lakes and rivers. These bodies of water are not just picturesque landscapes, they are vital ecosystems that support a vast web of life. They provide us with drinking water, irrigate our crops, and support countless species of plants and animals. The idea of all lakes turning red may seem like a far-off hypothetical, but it highlights a very real and pressing issue: the degradation of our freshwater ecosystems. From pollution to climate change, human activities are putting unprecedented stress on these delicate environments. The transformation of a lake from a vibrant blue to a murky red is often the first visible sign of a much larger problem. It's a warning signal, a desperate plea for help from an ecosystem in distress. The vibrant red color that can overtake a lake isn't due to some strange magic. It's the result of a natural phenomenon known as an algal bloom. These blooms occur when there's a sudden increase in the population of algae, microscopic organisms that live in water. While some algae are harmless and even beneficial, certain types can release toxins into the water. These toxins can be harmful to both humans and animals. Another factor that can contribute to the reddening of lakes is pollution. Industrial waste, agricultural runoff, and sewage often contain high levels of nutrients, particularly nitrogen and phosphorus. These nutrients act like fertilizer for algae, causing them to multiply rapidly and leading to massive blooms. In some cases, the red color may not be due to algae at all, but rather to suspended sediments in the water. For instance, iron oxide, commonly known as rust, can give water a reddish-brown hue. Regardless of the cause, the color change in a lake is a clear indication that something is out of balance. It's a symptom of an ecosystem under stress, a visible reminder of the impact of human activities on the natural world. The ecological consequences of a lake turning red due to an algal bloom can be devastating. One of the most significant impacts is oxygen depletion, a process known as eutrophication. As the algae in a bloom die, they sink to the bottom of the lake, where they're decomposed by bacteria. This decomposition process consumes massive amounts of oxygen, effectively suffocating fish and other aquatic life. The result is what's known as a dead zone, an area of the lake devoid of life. These dead zones are becoming increasingly common in lakes and coastal waters around the world, a grim testament to the growing problem of nutrient pollution. The excessive growth of algae also blocks sunlight from reaching the depths of the lake. This lack of sunlight kills off aquatic plants, which are essential for maintaining the health of the ecosystem. They provide food and shelter for fish and other organisms and help to oxygenate the water. The ecological ripple effects of an algal bloom can be felt throughout the entire food web. As fish and other aquatic animals die off, it disrupts the delicate balance of predator-prey relationships. Adding to the ecological damage, some species of algae produce potent toxins that can harm both humans and animals. These toxins, known as cyanotoxins, can contaminate drinking water supplies, posing a serious threat to public health. Exposure to cyanotoxins can cause a range of health problems, from skin rashes and gastrointestinal illness to liver damage and neurological disorders. In some cases, exposure to high levels of cyanotoxins can even be fatal. Animals are also at risk from cyanotoxins. Livestock that drink from contaminated lakes can become sick or even die. Fish and other aquatic animals can accumulate cyanotoxins in their bodies, posing a risk to humans and other animals that consume them. The presence of cyanotoxins in lakes and rivers is a growing concern worldwide. As temperatures rise and nutrient pollution continues, it's likely that we'll see an increase in the frequency and severity of toxic algal blooms. Section 5. A world without fresh water. Now let's consider the hypothetical scenario posed at the beginning of this essay. What if all the lakes in the world turned red? While this may seem like a far-fetched idea, it serves as a powerful thought experiment, forcing us to confront the potential consequences of our actions. If all lakes were to turn red due to pollution and algal blooms, it would signal a global ecological disaster of unprecedented proportions. Freshwater ecosystems would collapse, leading to the extinction of countless species of plants and animals. The loss of freshwater ecosystems would have catastrophic effects on humanity as well. Billions of people rely on lakes and rivers for drinking water, irrigation, and sanitation. The loss of these vital resources would lead to widespread water scarcity, sparking conflicts over dwindling supplies. The economic consequences would be equally devastating. Industries that depend on fresh water, such as fishing, agriculture, and tourism, would be decimated. The global economy would be thrown into turmoil. Section 6. Economic upheaval. The economic consequences of all lakes turning red would be felt across the globe. Industries that rely on fresh water would be the hardest hit, but the effects would ripple through the entire global economy. Fishing, a source of food and income for millions of people worldwide, would be decimated. Fish populations would collapse, unable to survive in the toxic, oxygen-depleted waters. Coastal communities that depend on fishing would be devastated. Agriculture, which relies heavily on fresh water for irrigation, would also suffer catastrophic losses. Crops would wither and die, leading to food shortages and skyrocketing prices. The global food supply chain would be thrown into chaos. Tourism, a major industry in many parts of the world, would grind to a halt. Lakes and rivers, once popular destinations for swimming, boating, and fishing, would become no-go zones. Hotels, restaurants, and other businesses that cater to tourists would be forced to close their doors. The economic fallout from the loss of our freshwater resources would be felt for generations. It would be a stark reminder of the true cost of environmental degradation. Section 7. A public health crisis. Beyond the ecological and economic impacts, the reddening of all lakes would trigger a global public health crisis. The toxins produced by some types of algae can cause a range of health problems, and their presence in our drinking water would have devastating consequences. Water treatment plants would be overwhelmed, unable to keep up with the demand for clean water. Hospitals would be flooded with patients suffering from the effects of cyanotoxin poisoning. The most vulnerable populations, such as children, the elderly, and those with weakened immune systems, would be at the highest risk. The lack of access to clean water and sanitation would lead to outbreaks of waterborne diseases, further exacerbating the public health crisis. The global health system, already strained by existing challenges, would be pushed to the breaking point. The reddening of our lakes would be a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of human health and the health of our planet. Section 8. Our call to action. The scenario we've explored in this essay, while hypothetical, serves as a stark warning. It highlights the interconnectedness of our planet's ecosystems and the potential consequences of our actions. While the complete reddening of all lakes is an extreme scenario, the reality is that we are already witnessing the degradation of our freshwater resources. Pollution, climate change, and over-extraction are taking their toll, pushing many lakes and rivers to the brink. The good news is that it's not too late to act. We can still reverse the damage and protect these vital ecosystems for future generations, but it will require a concerted effort from individuals, governments, and industries around the world. We need to reduce our reliance on fertilizers and pesticides, which are major sources of nutrient pollution. We need to invest in sustainable water management practices, ensuring that we're using this precious resource wisely. And we need to address the root causes of climate change, which is exacerbating many of the threats to our freshwater resources. The fate of our lakes and rivers, and indeed the health of our planet, is in our hands. Let us act now before it's too late.